Hello, July journal setup time. Side note, my hands look really big in this camera angle view, so that's something. But I wanted to show you guys how I set up my monthly journal. So I usually do this in a bullet journal. I'm using this kit Fila where I have a bunch of stuff. I can use it as my storage, but this is where I got my first bullet journal. But I've had a couple journals since. This is my Tombow soft pen that I use to kind of emphasize things. I have some gold Sharpies so I can do some cover art on my black journal. Of course, whiteout tape, got an eraser, some fine liners, and washi tape that I use for the tabs. I also have some stamps underneath, but I rarely use those nowadays. So my monthly journal setups are usually minimalistic. I don't really do any cover art nowadays. I just kind of make things very simple. I usually put just the name of the month, the year. I make a whole calendar spread, and I've been doing a food log every month. Some months I do put mood journals and mood trackers, but I'm not planning to do that in this one. So I should really put bullet journal in quotes because I'm actually using a line journal that I had already, and I just kind of do a similar setup I've been doing for years. And yes, there's extra lines, but it works out for me. Going with the minimal approach, I'm just putting the month and year with some sparkles around for 4th of July, and I'm putting down the washi tape tabs now. I have this decal that's kind of 4th of July patriotic, I guess, with the red, white, and blue. And I actually put 2 washi tapes and sandwiched the page together between them, so it's a little bit easier to grab when I want to go to that month. And for the fine liners, I'm just grabbing basic black out of here, nothing fancy, but those are all the colors I have. I actually love doing watercolor art with these pens. I don't think it's meant for them, but it works so great with watercolor art. And here I'm going back to see when the days start and how many weeks are in the month of July. And yes, side note, it is the middle of July, and so I know I'm starting the calendar late, but I'm counting, okay, there's 6 weeks, and I'm gonna have to space out the weeks correctly. And on my key page, sometimes I refer to that to see how many lines or spaces I need for each week. Or I compare it to the previous month. So this is me going back to the June month and just kind of sliding the page over to the right a little bit, so the July page, and marking off where I had it in June. And that's what I've been doing mostly for my method to align the weeks correctly. And then I divide each page into 4 sections, so that's a total of 8 sections all across the 2 pages, 7 days plus a notes section at the beginning. And then with those marker lines I made across, I just drag the lines across the whole page. So I have kind of a 2-page calendar setup here. And just putting the month and year, which I accidentally put 2022 at the top. I'll fix that later. And of course the notes, and then the line for the notes. And here I actually switched to my Tombow soft tip, so it's thicker lines, and I always start my weeks off at Monday, so I have the weekends together. So then I go in with the days of the whole month. I had different methods for this, but I found that putting it on the bottom right with circles around them is what works best for me, because at first I was putting it on the top right or top left, and I found that it wasn't giving enough room when I would put in events. And yeah, here I put in the wrong date, so of course I go in with my whiteout tape, that's nothing new, and redo the days a little bit here. But yeah, it gives more space to write stuff for me if I put it on the bottom. Alright, so now that we have our calendar set up, next is the food log journal. So I kind of use this for my cooking log, planning the month ahead, maybe groceries I want to buy. It's not something that I strictly stick to, and a lot of times I like to go back and actually write in what I did cook or did eat and put notes around it if I liked it or not. This is my June one. And then the same thing with the calendar, I line it up with the June food log so I can mark exactly where I want things spaced out. So I have it divided for the different weeks. And yes, there's 6 weeks or 6 different weeks in July, but since some weeks only have one day, I just put like 5 weeks here and that works for me. And of course with the food log, it's not just what I cook, it's really anything I eat, and if I liked it, I'll probably end up putting restaurants I like or dishes I like too, so I just remember what was good and what was not for me. And at the top I put like what's in my fridge, so I can try to cook up what's in my fridge already before it goes bad, or see if I'm low on anything to plan for groceries. Alright, so now that we have the outline set up, now is what bullet journalists like to call like the pen time. This is where we actually put in details for our bullet journal, start filling in things. I use this pen to write my actual journal entries, and I totally recommend getting a really comfortable pen. So I invested in this Jetstream one. I mean, when I say invest, it was still like maybe $5 for a 3-pack, so not too much money, but I found that like when I was writing with the out-of-the-box pens with no grip, it would just hurt my hands. So a cushy pen is worth it. I like to cross off the days, and then going to the front, I'm just putting in little decals for the months that passed, and just to give a little bit of extra art in the front as well. And now I'm just putting everything away back into my bullet journaling box so it's nice and tidy. And that's more or less how I set up my monthly journal. Thanks for watching.